Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes, and I love being right. I said a few weeks ago, and then I think I repeated it last week, that 4 Women Scotland are going to take the Scottish Government to court if the Scottish Government don't pull their finger out and start obeying the law when it comes to gender. And they have now done this. I said if this is the Scottish Government, don't publish their instructions and actually start obeying the law last Friday, then 4 Women Scotland would prosecute. And that's exactly what they're doing. They won the legal victory on gender. It was they what won that, even though Nippy fought and knew, and we've done that as well, Nippy knew she couldn't win, but she pushed it anyway, because stupidity. But anyway, 4 Women Scotland won that. And then they said, right, you've got until this date because you still haven't got single-sex toilets. You've still not given guidance to schools, to buildings, hospitals, everything. It's up to you to do this. It is the law. The law's been clarified. You don't need to sit there and go, we need to see the repercussions. The law is the law. The law's been clarified by the High Court, by the Supreme Court back in April, and you cannot find any more excuses not to do it. And so, there we go. Women means women, not men in skirts. And now they've said that they have got little choice because of the prevarication and delay at the highest levels. So it's now actually causing problems, as well as being illegal. It's actually causing problems for women, and so they're now going to prosecute because of the policies enacted by the SNP government about transgender stuff in schools, in hospitals, places of custody such as police stations and jails and prisons, etc. Now, the schools guidance is a bit of an odd one because there is a separate law regarding schools which says that they must have separate facilities for boys and girls. People seem to think that, we've got this law over here, then this law stops applying. No, you can have two laws and they can both apply at the same time. Prisoner guidance currently allows for transgender women to be admitted into the women's estate if the person does not meet the violence against women and girls criteria. However, that was the case. That is the guidance. However, the law is explicit and no, they can't. And so you've got official guidance from a government which breaches the law. And this is happening in very many areas. Men can sit in women's wards because the guidance says they can, but the law says they can't. And that is why 4 Women Scotland are now taking the Scottish Government to court. The problem is, for the Scottish Government now, that the 4 Women Scotland group have already won because the law's on their side. But the bigger problem is this. The Equality Act is what's known as superior law. That means it is very, very important law. It's very, very high, and the punishments are accordingly much harsher. Now, it sits atop English law, English and Welsh law. It sits atop Scottish law and so forth. It sits at more or less. It's like if it was America, it would be a federal law. It overarches everything, and it's very, very strict. And the punishments within it for breaching the Equality Act are incredibly strict. There is, for example, limitless fines, limitless time in jail. Yes. So what they've done is they have issued the summons. It's called an ordinary action for reduction, which is their way. It's a legal term. It means basically it's telling them that they've got to pull that guidance. That's what they're asking for, and they've given them 21 days on this summons to agree to the pulling of the guidance and the issuing of legal guidance, or the summons will continue to the case. They have 21 days. If the policies have not been drawn, then the summons will be issued for calling. That means go to court. And the government will have to defend its policies in court. However, the government already know it cannot win that case. The law is quite explicit. Anyway, they say they're asking the court to issue a declaration that the school guidance and the prison guidance, etc., are all unlawful and that they may be reduced in the whole. And they're also asking that both policies are suspended in the meantime. The Scottish Government said, we cannot speak of this at the moment. It's inappropriate as it's an ongoing court case. Brackets, that we cannot win, close brackets, not their words, mine. It's a watershed, isn't it? Because if they do pull these if the SNP government pull these guidances, it's an admittance of defeat, not just for the SNP government, but for Nippy herself. Cranky is done. And that will really make that little puckered dog's ass face, that she does so well and so often. Or they can say, no, we're not pulling it, in which case they go to court, then they lose. And here's the thing, because the Equality Act works on the chief executive if it's a company or the most responsible person, that means John Swinney himself could be personally liable. That means it could be him personally liable for any fines and liable for any imprisonment. So I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to predict that at some point in the next 21 days, all that guidance is pulled and legal guidance put in place. I guarantee the lawyers will be working late into the night, scratching away by candlelight into the wee small hours. Thanks very much. Bye.